So I did mine on food groups. So here's my caption. Why can't you eat pizza every day? Basically, I want them to learn the food groups. So grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, meat, and beans. They should have a background on this, but just in case, the first day is going to be basically about this. Also, this is a video that they can reference to learn about the food groups if they're not totally sure. So this is a task. So the objective is students will be able to recognize the different food groups and how much of each are essential for or not necessary in the human body. They will then be able to apply this to their own life and come up with a plan to either fix what they're eating and explain how or explain what they're doing right. So I just kind of wrote what exactly they're going to be doing so when they check this they can know pretty straightforward, exploring what the food groups are. I'm going to have them work with a partner for research just because it's still third grade, so I want them to be working together on the internet and with the technology resources. And they're going to track everything they eat. So basically, what they're going to do is they're going to learn about the food groups, they're going to track what they're eating, and then they're going to figure out if they're eating a balanced diet or not. And then the final assessment will be how they're going to change that and apply it into their life. And so that's why they're going to track what they're eating. I think I said about 5 days for that. And then they're going to determine whether their diet is balanced or not. And then they're going to create a presentation with a partner and present it to the class. So the first day, we're going to do an activity about the food groups and then work with a partner and research how much of each is necessary to a healthy body. And then days 2 through 7 is when they're going to use the online system, which I have in the resources, to track everything they ate for that day. And they'll each enter their own information, so they'll work with a partner to research, but I want them to have their own information because I want them all to apply it to their lives, not their friend's life. And then the next day, they're going to sort into different food groups. And so on my resources page, I put the handout, but they're all going to get a handout every day that they come into class. And grains, dairy, meat, fruits, and vegetables, that's how they're going to split it up. And they're going to write everything they wrote into those different categories. And that's how they're going to tell if they're eating healthy or not. And then on days 7 and 8, they're going to take knowledge of everything that they ate and the food groups and come up with a solution to have a more balanced diet. And they're going to either use Prezi or Powtoon to do a presentation, or they can do an infographic just to kind of make people aware. And then they're going to present their findings to the class. I did say they can work with a partner or alone just because some students don't like to work with partners, but I'm encouraging it. I just want them to use as many technological resources as possible within this because I want them to be figuring out the essential questions on their own. And then here's my resources. They should have a background knowledge for researching, so I just gave them a couple to get them started, and then they're going to be able to do it on their own. And then this is the link to track their food. This is obviously the worksheet, just in case, but they're always going to get a handout. And then these are all the presentation software, so they won't have to do anything else. They can use this page for as much research as they need. And then evaluation-wise, I'm going to give them a self-assessment. I followed directions, I worked well with my partner, I used all of the resources, I worked hard, gave them a solution, I was fully prepared. 3 is that they did that all correctly. They give themselves 3 points. They kind of did, or they didn't at all. And I wrote that if they didn't, they need to put why, because I want them to explain why they didn't. And then I myself will have one for them. Did they stay engaged? Did they use the resources? Did they work well in a group? And did they create a presentation using one of the softwares given to them? And I'm basically going to use this self-assessment as well. I just want to see how they grade themselves versus how I grade them. And then on the conclusion, I just wrote everything that they learned so that they researched, they explored, and they applied it all into their daily life. And they came up with a plan, and hopefully that they implement it. And then this is just my Notes to Teachers page. It's a 3rd grade health lesson. It's going to be about 2 school weeks total just because of all the tracking. And they're going to use Prezi, Powtoon, or Infographic, which is the computer software that they're going to be using, just because I want them to use as much technology as possible. And like prior knowledge, they should know a little bit about what healthy foods are and what they should be eating. And I would say that they should know food groups because it is in lower standards. But just in case they don't, I did set up that review day just so they can research it and fill out a worksheet. So that way they're certain of what the groups are when they're dividing up what they ate into those groups. And they should also have prior knowledge of research and how to use the computer programs such as Prezi, Powtoon, or Infographic. And then I also put some standards. The most important one, though, is to identify a variety of foods in each food group that are healthy choices, and dealing with unhealthy eating solutions, and your meals based on food groups. I did some inquiry questions, which I want them to find out on their own using the technology, which is what makes some foods healthy and unhealthy, why is it helpful to know major food groups, and what if all the foods you eat come from only one food group. So the importance of having a balanced diet. You could definitely adapt this to younger grades. I just wouldn't go in depth with applying it right away. It'd probably be a longer one, or I would make that more of a challenge question, and I would focus mainly on the food groups themselves with lower grades. I put all the hyperlinks on my research page, and the tables and everything I created myself. But besides that, the CDE website is the only thing that I use for standards. And yeah, so the students will basically be learning about food groups, and they're going to be using all of their information that they get on the internet to apply it to their daily life.